Guys, my name's Paige and today I'm introducing a new series called Pony Problems with Paige. Excuse my fluff ball here. Simba, what are you doing? So basically, this series is a new series I'm starting on my channel. Basically, you guys will send in your problems to me or situations you may be having with your horses, problems as a rider, any hard situation you have that you would like my advice on. And you send them in. You're going to be sending them in through Instagram. So I'll post a photo that'll say, want to be a part of this episode, read below, or something to that degree. You'll write a situation down and you may get included. I am not going to be doing any more than 5 situations maybe, because I want to keep these quite short. However, I will be saving everything that gets sent in, so if you're not answered one week, you may be answered the next week, even if I delete the photo off my Instagram. So guys, when you send in your questions, just keep in mind that I'm not a professional. I'm only giving you advice based on my own experience. So please don't go and attack me and say, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about or anything. Everyone has their different methods. If I say something, most of the time it's because it's worked for me. Or I've heard that it's worked for other people. So please keep that in mind and don't come and attack me when I'm in no way saying that I'm a professional. This is just what people have sent in. Lola Bratag asks, what do you do if your horse throws its head in the canter transition? Okay, personally I think, let's look at why. Let's look at what, why, and how to improve it. So what is throwing its head? Basically when you go into the canter, your horse starts going like this and will throw its head as it's moving into the canter. Why is your horse doing this? I would probably say your horse is doing this because they are unbalanced, because the canter was not asked for properly. They're in a grumpy mood. There could be multiple reasons. When I am in my trot, I would make sure my horse is calm and expecting a forward transition. So I would start quickening my stride. You're okay, it's just thunder. You're alright. You're okay. So I would start quickening my stride. In my trot, I would make sure my horse's head frame is in a quite nice frame, and I would make sure I ask for the transition properly. So give a very clear indication of what your horse wants. Usually when a horse, in my opinion, shows some sort of attitude, personally I always look at it that I'm not asking well enough. I need to be clearer with my direction. So personally what I would do is I would just make sure my canter transition is very clear on what I want my horse to do. My horse is going forward in a nice rhythm and is constantly questioning whether something new is coming, and that my horse's head carriage is constantly there and it's not shifting around. If you can keep your horse's head still in a trot, most likely you'll probably get it in the transition. I find Winston used to do this a lot with me. It's all about preparation with transition. So if you prepare, you get your horse ready and you don't ask them sharply, you'll most likely not get your horse's head thrown in the air. Aria Farrant asks, I can't seem to keep my seat in the canter. Do you have any tips? Okay, I have a very strange tip to keep your seat in canter. Despite everyone saying, sit deep, blah, 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 this is actually a bit of a practical thing you can do at home, and this really helped me out. So when I was first learning to canter, I was obsessed with riding my bike. And as you all know, you sit on a bike, and where I live, there are a lot of bumps in the road, particularly like going off driveways, there's little ditches and stuff. So you basically just go over the little bump on the road, but with your feet off the pedals, and you try and relax your body into the seat and sit really deep and not bounce around. Personally, I think keeping a seat in the canter is the type of thing where you have to learn to sink into it, because if you try and be tense, you're just going to bobble around even more. But yeah, that's my top tip I can give, because that helped me out a ton. Now I know it sounds ridiculous, but trust me, if you do it over and over again, and eventually you can go down that bump without moving in your seat and staying very central and still, you'll most likely be able to keep your seat better in canter. You could try doing some sitting trot, some walk to trot transitions with no stirrups, just lots and lots of transitions. Also, another thing that my instructor did is you can put a piece of paper underneath your butt when you're in the saddle, and you should be able to set goals for yourself of how many circles of canter you can complete without the paper flying out. So that's another tip as well. So I hope that helped, Aria. Canter to Happiness asks, when a horse bolts on you, what do you do? Horses are flight animals. So that means that when they get scared of something, their first reaction is to get away from it. Now, a horse, personally, I think bolts for two different reasons. One, they are being naughty, or three different reasons. One, they're being naughty. Two, they're uncomfortable with something, or three, they're scared. If a horse bolts on me when they are naughty, usually, or if they're uncomfortable, to stop the bolt, I will use a one-rein stop. So basically, enjoying looking at your foot? A one-rein stop is basically where you use one rein, you bring your rein to your hip, and your horse turns in a really tight circle, and that prevents them from going forward because they usually can't run a million miles an hour in a tight circle. If a horse is spooking as a bolt, I tend to, Winston's done this a bit, where he's bolted out of fright, not out of naughtiness. But if your horse bolts out of fright, honestly, I just let them do it for a couple of strides, and I start talking to them and go, it's okay, blah, blah, and I will try and stop him, but I let him fly off for a few strides so he's got under in his head, or I've gotten away from whatever it was. So that's what I tend to do when a horse bolts. Hope that helped out in some way. Hey55_2, I love this username, asks, my horse seems to disunite his canter after some jumps. Have you got any tips for him to pick up his correct leads when he lands, or not for him to disunite his canter? Personally, I just think you come in with a nice flexion, and you're straight when you land, you're not letting your horse drift, and you're just very flexed to the direction that you want to go. Something else you could do as well, you could use a bit of reverse psychology. You wanted your horse to pick up on the right lead, you could flex to the left, and basically that creates an open space for them to get out of what you're asking them to do, and they might throw their shoulder here, and then they might pick up on the right lead, if you get what I'm saying. So you're flexing left and they shift out and go right, which is what you've wanted. I personally wouldn't do that because it's going to teach my horse that when I flex him the wrong way, he's going to do that. But if that's something you need to do in a quick situation, you could do that. So as for disuniting your canter, I think it comes with practice getting your horse balanced as they go around the arena. What I tend to like to do is a lot of half holds. And just nice, as my horse is going forward, a couple of half holds to rebalance him and reunite his canter. Forever Photographing asks, how do I get my confidence back? I fell off doing a canter jump recently right on my back and head, and I'm scared to do it again in case I fall off. Look, I go through little phases where I'll fall off a lot and be scared to do anything again. Everyone goes through it, no matter how much people say they're not scared, they're going to be scared at some point. Personally, I think the best advice I can give for this is have an instructor that you trust. I'm not sure whether you fell off doing this alone, but if you were in a lesson, if you trust your instructor and you have an instructor you trust, I know I certainly do, and she or he tells you to go jump it, as long as you have that trust in them, you should go jump it, is basically what I'm trying to say, because most of the time your instructor will only give you something to do if they know you can complete it. I think with confidence-wise, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Try and think of it as though, because most of the time I'm scared personally, not that I'm scared of falling off, but in order for me to fall off, my horse has to do something. And I like to constantly think, it was not the horse, it was me. It was not the horse, it was me. He doesn't remember it, he doesn't remember it. I'm hanging on to this, is what I like to think of. And I try to think, as soon as I release it from my head, he's released it from his head, and it's not gonna happen. Eventually you get confidence back. It's just time helps with confidence, is all I can really say. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this first episode of Pony Problems with Paige. Give this video a thumbs up if you're looking forward to this new series. I'll probably be doing an episode at least once a month. You'll probably get 2 or 3 in there. If you guys really don't want to miss out on the next Pony Problems with Paige episode, then please follow me on Instagram. I always have my Instagrams linked below, but that is my horsey Instagram at the moment. So go ahead and follow me on there. Turn on your post notifications so you're aware whenever I post a photo saying leave your situations down below that I can answer. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you blah 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 blah. I always say the same thing every time, don't we? Why do I have to repeat myself? Bye!